Oh, yeah.
చీజ్ అవుతుంది. చీజ్ తొందరగానే అవుతుంది, వాటర్ కంటెంట్ ఉండదు కదా.
Alright. Turn this on. It's gonna be fun.
Trying to get a pan ready.
What are you gonna do this one?
Oh, you're gonna use that one. You the eggs?
You did not get the eggs out.
And you just put the eggs?
Pardon?
Regular eggs.
Tie into your farmer's market. That's everything.
Yep. Wash my hair up.
All right. Cool. What are you gonna do with potatoes? You need garlic, right?
Yeah, she's right.
All right, we got what? 1, 2, 3, 4. Standing? Yeah, that's pretty cool. Good.
We'll start in 1 minute, okay?
1 minute. All right. You just say the word, Dan.
Derek McDonald.
Derek McDonald's in the house?
Yeah.
Derek, you can say hi if you want.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi.
Hey, Derek.
What's going on?
We're just waiting for everyone to join.
Cool.
Yeah.
This is gonna be fun. What's
All
that?
right, guys, take it away. You guys are now recording.
Amazing.
Okay.
All right, well, welcome. Thank you guys for joining us during quarantine.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome to our kitchen. Recently cleaned. I hope you guys are all staying safe, having a good time out there. Want to say just welcome to all the Sheridan College students, and anyone else who's decided to join us today. This is going to be the first of 3 cooking shows that we're going to be doing every Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Once again, thank you so much. If you need more information about this, you can just check out the SSU website. All the ingredients for everything that we're making tonight, which is buffalo chicken wraps, are available on that website as well. So make sure you check that out. Make sure you have everything you need to succeed.
But if you don't want to cook with us today, that's totally fine. Feel free to just follow along and watch.
All right. Just a really brief introduction. So my name's Dan. Originally from Northern Ontario, grew up in a little town called New Liskeard, and I went to University of Laurentian in Sudbury. There I did a 4-year undergrad in kinesiology, during which time I spent 4 years as a professional cook there, working at a little pub, steakhouse, Italian food. Upon graduation, I had a very difficult choice whether I was going to pursue teaching or follow my passion in cooking. I chose the latter. Next year, I moved to Toronto and I enrolled in George Brown for food and beverage management, which is the front of the house part. I was there for 2 years. It was really eye-opening. It was wonderful. I gained experience both in cooking, but more so in this, just the whole front of house management, really. Yeah, I learned a lot about wine, cocktails, some human resources, some law. It was just really, really wonderful. And then from which I moved into support, working support in fine dining restaurants, into serving, and then eventually into managing. So right now I currently hold the title of general manager at Rasa Restaurant, which is like the Amex area. It's like Harvard and Spadina. Rasa is currently closed to the public, as you know, but we are doing takeout. It's really, really, it's wonderful, the support that we're getting from the community. I guess which will lead me to introduce my wife, Michelle. We actually work for the same company. So Rasa Restaurant is owned by the Food Dudes, which is Toronto's largest catering company. And Michelle works on that side.
That's where I work. Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm originally from Peterborough. I went to the University of Guelph for environmental sociology. At Guelph, I specialized in sustainable food systems, which is the relationship of society and how it impacts our food system. That really opened up my eyes to the issues regarding our food system and the large-scale agriculture and monoculture and all of the distribution issues that we have within our food system. From there, I moved to Toronto, was working in restaurants for quite a long time, and then eventually moved into being the market manager for the Cabbagetown Farmers Market. I loved running the farmers market. It was an amazing way to connect our food suppliers, our farmers with the community of Cabbagetown. Within the city of Toronto, there is supporting them in any way that you can.
Yeah, it's a great way to get your groceries, guys.
Yeah.
We're really, it's just even nice to get out of the house and do something and support the local farmers. So.
And in this pandemic, a lot of the farmers markets are now moving online. So it's just the start of the growing season, but I would highly suggest Googling your local farmers market. Most of them are going to be setting up virtual online stores where you can order everything, and then there's a picture. You'll get your groceries straight from your farmers. I would highly suggest that. So after the farmers market, in conjunction with working within restaurants, I moved into an event coordination role with the Food Dudes. I've been doing that, managing events and coordinating events for the past year. And I recently just got hired to open a concert venue, which has been inevitably postponed, of course, because of the pandemic, but looking forward to starting that up soon. All right, guys, that's a little bit about us. We're going to move right into cooking. Today, we're going to be starting you off with the buffalo chicken wrap from the Den menu at your Sheridan College. We're going to be putting a few twists on it, but using a lot of the same ingredients and showing you how to make it today.
I'm really excited because I love fried chicken. So
it's legitimately his favorite.
It actually is. So upon, I guess there was a poll sent out on some different variations that we'd like to see. The two hits were that we're going to add the addition of some red onion and some bacon. So I'm going to hop right into that. I'm going to get started with cooking some bacon. Most people, I assume, are used to cooking bacon in a frying pan. Just to free up some space, because we got a lot going on, I'm going to be doing it in the oven here today. This is not farmer's market bacon. This is the great bargain find that I got from No Frills. It was $1 off, so it's very important to be thrifty in these times.
Also, something we didn't mention, we're going to be using 2 different cameras today. So I have my phone and we're using our laptop. So we're going to be using the phone to do kind of close-up of Dan while he's cooking. And then the laptop so you can see just sort of the general overview.
All right. So I'm going to start here just with 3 pieces of bacon. We bought some larger style wraps. They're not typically found in grocery stores, but you can find them in certain specialty Mexican shops. This is the same size that they use at the Den. This is what you typically find in a restaurant. This is a 12-inch tortilla. If you guys are using like the store-bought, the large ones, are typically like an 8-inch style. But we do like slightly less filler. I'll talk about that when we go along. And yeah, for this sake, if you're using an 8-inch tortilla, I would maybe do 1 or even 2 slices of bacon. So I'm just gonna cut these into quarters, and I have a cast iron pan here, like no oil, no nothing, just a cast iron pan. I've got an oven that's been preheated to 350.
Yep.
I believe. And I'm just gonna throw it in. We're gonna walk away. I'm gonna forget about it.
But don't forget about it too much because that's how you burn the bacon.
That's true. No, but this is a great method too, especially if you're doing it like at a temperature like 350. It's pretty much foolproof. You can just leave it in there if you want like a crispier texture, whatever you're sort of looking for. But yeah, it's nicer this way as opposed to frying it because you do actually reduce your risk of burning the bacon. It's nice.
Okay, so while Dan's doing that, I'm going to start on our side dish, which is our roasted potatoes. I buy the baby potatoes, which are just about this big, but you can use any form of potato. Usually yellow skin potatoes are best. And then we're just going to be cutting these in half. So if you're using larger potatoes, that's fine too. Just cut them to a size of about this big.
And anytime you're handling raw meat, very important that you wash your hands. Would you mind
Turning on the tap?
helping me out with some soap?
Sure. There you go.
Wonderful. Washing your hands, very important. It's
Cross-contaminated.
I mean, any day and age, but especially this day and age, for sure. All right. So as mentioned, there's no real rhyme or reason here. This is what my pan of quartered bacon looks like, and I'm just throwing that directly into the oven at 350.
Say probably about 15 minutes for the bacon, but just keep an eye on it until it gets crispy, then you
Just
can
to
take it
be
out.
safe, because I don't trust myself, I'm going to set a timer for 12 minutes. And we'll go from there. Okay.
You want to wash it?
Go right into another protein, so I'm actually okay in a second. Okay, next up, this is the star of the show. We're going to do the chicken. I wanted to have a little bit of fun with this today. I'm going to show you how to break down a whole chicken. I know on the website, I asked you guys to buy the bone-in skin on chicken, just as a fun way to kind of like, I don't know, enhance your butchering skills. I typically only buy whole chickens. And the reason why I do that, first of all, it's the best bang for your buck. Secondly, Sean and I, we fell in love with each other too.
You made me soup and
So yeah, the bones are wonderful for this. Usually I break down the whole chicken and I'll separate it and I'll keep the bones. And then they'll put them in the freezer and they're good up till 8 months to a year, realistically. I do think maybe you should grab the bone for this.
Yeah.
This is kinda...
Okay, guys, I have halved all my baby potatoes. They're going in a boiling pot of water. This just softens them up a little bit. After about 7 minutes, I'm going to take them out of the water and then roast them in the oven.
Yeah, this is actually a very important step. A lot of people, when they're first time cooking potatoes raw, there's nothing enjoyable about eating raw potatoes. So this, the pre-cooking, the parboiling, is very necessary. I'd say almost in any preparation you're doing potatoes.
Yeah.
The exception being if you're doing a roast potato, so those can take up to an hour in the oven.
So to save time and to add moisture, you can pre-boil them.
Exactly. All right.
Grab the phone.
So this is my free-range chicken. As you can probably see, it's missing a leg. And that's because I had dinner yesterday. So right now we're going to be focusing just on the chicken breast today. All we need is one, even for a large wrap. What you're looking at here is right down the middle here. This is called the heel, and it contains some cartilage as well as a little bit of bone. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be splitting that and then cutting down along the side of the bone. So if you guys are using your bone-in chicken breast, it's the same thing. Just trying to visualize it, just stand it up and you can kind of follow with me. So here we go. I'm just going to start an incision like you see on Grey's Anatomy or any of those shows, right down the middle here. Perfect. And then you just go with your fingers for where the bone is. And that's where it is here. And you're just going to follow that downward. There's no real wrong way to do this, but once again, just go by feel here.
Let me go on the other side of you.
So you're just following that down, just kind of scraping away as you go. What's a little bit more challenging when you're doing it this way is also you'll encounter the wing as well, which is delicious, and actually is where the origins of the buffalo chicken come from. It's from the wing. Did a little bit of research today. Buffalo chicken wing, invented in Buffalo, New York, 1964.
Look at you.
Although
So educational.
that's not fully confirmed, because a lot of places do like to say that it was their creation. Okay, so picked away at the breast there. Just gonna cut some of the connective tissue here. It's probably one of the least
Careful.
glamorous parts here. Okay.
So can I show them the inside?
Yeah.
So the inside, see where the bone is, just right there. He's followed that bone all the way along, and then this is just left with the meat.
Right.
So if you bought a boneless, skinless chicken breast, that's the part that you would have.
Yeah. So almost there. My next step here is I need to remove the breast from the cavity as well as remove the wing as well. So it should just all come off in one piece, just like that.
Nice. You just put it on the clean box.
Perfect. So as you can see, this is your chicken breast, skin on, wing in. A lot of restaurants will serve this with the drum still attached, such as that, and that would be your chicken breast supreme, is what they call that typically. For today, we're not going to be using the wing, so I am going to be removing it.
So enjoy those later.
We can. Okay, next. So this is your chicken breast. We're just going to strictly be removing the skin. Super easy, just peels back. Doesn't really take much effort at all.
You don't actually need a knife. You can
no.
just peel it off with your hands.
But don't throw this out too. This is like chicken bacon. Like you can just fry this or bake it and it becomes delicious.
Yeah.
So afterwards, this is your chicken breast. I'll flip it over. If you look, there's a piece on the back here. This is called the chicken tenderloin. This is what you typically get a chicken finger from. When restaurants are doing large scale, this is what you, like at a fancy restaurant, this is only what chicken tenders would consist of. So we're definitely keeping this. This is going to be
the most tender part.
The most tender part of our chicken breast here today. So with a chicken breast this size, now that we have the tender out, I would guess, what do you think, Bishop? 4? Maybe 5?
Yeah. And the trick to it is you want to separate them into as equal parts as possible. If you cut one too big or one too small, then they will cook unevenly, be more cooked than the other, and some of them might not cook thoroughly.
If you look at this here too, you can see there's a natural, almost second tender here. So I'm just going to follow that precisely, and that's going to be tender number 2. Falls pretty much the same. And looking at this, I think we can get, 3 more.
Yeah.
Because they do this.
Perfect.
Yeah, there's no science behind this.
Well, they're kind.
Well, I guess there's a little bit of the science. And we'll do that one there.
Perfect.
Perfect. Okay.
So your chicken has been broken down into 5 different chicken tenders. If you were making just chicken tenders, you could bread those and fry them and eat them on their own, but we're making a wrap out of it today.
Actually, on second inspection, I think this one's a little big, so I'm going to cut it in half again. So now we have 6. Cool. Great. All right. I'm going to wash my hands.
Someone's been on our chat. Oh, please feel free to ask any questions, guys.
Okay, I'm going to need help washing my hands again.
Okay, let's do it.
Thank you.
I was touching the chicken as well, so I should probably do it too. Just with my left. Okay.
All right, I feel like that was a pretty detailed breakdown of the chicken.
Okay. Did you want to bread?
Yes.
I'll start cutting it with it.
So next up, breading. It was a very intimidating thing for me. I remember being around like 20 years old, the idea of making like a fried chicken or breading something, but because fried chicken is my favorite food, I got a lot of experience with this now, and it's not scary, and I can tell you guys can all easily accomplish this at home. So what you're going to need next, you need 3 different stations. You're going to need a dry station, which is flour, a seasoned flour. We're going to be adding garlic powder, onion powder, a bit of paprika, and some cayenne to the all-purpose flour. Then there's going to be a wet station, which is going to just consist of egg, a little bit of water, and I'm going to add some Louisiana hot sauce as well to season it. And then we're going right into panko, and we're going to go into the pan. So for the fry today, I'm going to be using a cast iron pan. What we're going to be doing is not a deep fry, but also not a shallow fry either. I'm going to be filling this up with maybe about 1 inch of oil. I'm using canola, but you can really use any type of oil you want. You could use vegetable oil, peanut oil, you could use lard, you could use basically anything, whale blubber, which it's not.
Don't use real.
Just basically, just anything except for an oil that is going to smoke. Like you don't want to use butter because it's going to burn. I typically when I deep fry, I use canola oil because I feel it's very neutral in flavor, as well as once again you can cook it at a higher temperature. So before I get into the breading, I'm just going to get my cast iron pan on the stove. I'm going to heat that medium heat. I'm going to go with my stove goes from a range of 2 to 8. I've got it on number 5 right now, so that's what I'm going to be looking at. Once again, we're going to use some canola oil here. We're going to go for about 1 inch. So it's going to be more oil than you think. However, when you are frying at these like hotter temperatures, you don't need to worry about the oil getting into the meat. If you're cooking it hot enough, it should leave most of the oil back in the pan. So don't be too scared about this.
While Dan is teaching you the breading station, I'm going to be cutting up the vegetables for the wrap. I'm going to be doing tomato, lettuce, and red onion.
Perfect. Okay, so I got my oil in the pan on heat number 5, letting it go. I guess while we're talking here, my bacon that I did not forget about is in the oven. It's got about 2 minutes left. I can't wait till I'm going to peek. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to see where it's at. Oh, it's getting a lot more than 2 minutes. All right, so I'm going to give it. I'm going to give it another 10.
Put my hair.
There. 10 more minutes. Okay, so back into our burning station. We have our 6. We have bubbles. Boom, boom, boom. All right, first one. What I love about cooking, and I can't stand about baking, is the fact you don't have to perfectly measure everything. This you can kind of just eyeball. I'm going to put about 3/4 of a cup of flour into this. I'm just going to add a bit of onion powder here, maybe a tablespoon. Same thing with the garlic, about a tablespoon. And this is my chili or cayenne, doesn't matter. Either one, just put a little bit of heat. Same thing, about a tablespoon. And then I forgot to buy paprika, but I have Cajun house blend, which has paprika in it. So it's kind of the closest I got. So I'm going to do about a tablespoon of that as well. All right, so that's the first of 3 bowls. The second one, I'm going to crack a couple eggs in here. These are from the farmer's market. Thank you, Different Grove. A lot of people like to crack eggs on the side of the counter. I found from experience that a flat top is actually better. You just crack it straight up flat, break it in, make sure you don't get any eggshells in there. Once again, just a nice gentle tap there. And we're good. Okay, so to that, we're going to add some Louisiana style hot sauce, in this case, Frank's.
So just so everyone knows, the reason that we're using this style of hot sauce for buffalo hot sauce, its characteristic is a very, very vinegary hot sauce. So that's what gives it that specific flavor of the buffalo style chicken. Something like a sriracha or a chili sauce would be quite a bit hotter, but wouldn't have that vinegar content, wouldn't give it that specific flavor. So anything that says buffalo or Frank's or something that has a high vinegar content would be best.
Louisiana.
Louisiana.
Yeah. To this, I'm adding about a teaspoon of water. just to break it up a little bit. And then lastly, in our third bowl over here, I just have some Japanese breadcrumbs using panko, but you can use any type of breadcrumbs in this situation. Like you can use the Italian style. You can make your own from just day old bread. Yeah, so that's going into there about, again, like maybe a cup, just kind of an eyeball there. So the seasoning is coming from the first two bowls, and the last one is just for the texture as well. Moving back to my pan over here, it's been on for about 4 minutes or so. I have a meat thermometer somewhere. Let's just see how we're kind of at here. So my oil is about 180 degrees. It's not quite there. So meat thermometers are wonderful, especially for when you're cooking like a whole turkey or a roast or something like that. When it comes to frying, honestly, better than using a thermometer, you should use a wooden spoon or a chopstick or just anything of wood. And what you're looking for, I use the opposite end of the spoon. You just dip it in the oil, and when you see bubbles starting to form around it, you know that it's ready. So in this case, my oil is not quite ready yet for frying.
And then while he's doing that, I've started to cut up. We're just doing one large wrap. So I did half an onion and half of a large tomato, cut into about this size.
What type of knives did you use for this, Michelle?
Right. So for the onion, I used a very sharp chef's knife. And then for the tomato, I used a serrated knife. Tomatoes are very soft on the inside, but you have to break through their skin. So something with a serrated knife, if you don't have a bread knife or anything like that, a serrated steak knife would work as well. And that will give you nice clean cut marks on your tomatoes. Okay, so I'm going to be cutting those up, and then I'm going to use the romaine lettuce next and just cut those into strips for the filling.
Beautiful. All right. So next up here, we just need to incorporate all these ingredients together. So we're going to mix the flour, the cayenne, the onion powder, the garlic, and the chili together. Just to incorporate that all in there. Nextly, I've got the Louisiana, a little bit of water and the eggs. We're just going to beat those just into a nice scrambled egg mixture. You probably noticed I didn't season the actual chicken itself. I'm going to add a little bit of salt to that before I go into this dredging station, but most of the seasoning you're going to actually add at the end when they come out of the frying pan, as well as there's a lot of salt in the actual sauce itself, so you don't need to overthink that. Anytime where's our salt? Okay. Anytime that you're seasoning anything, highly recommend pouring the salt into your hand as opposed to pouring it over whatever it is you're cooking, because you can ruin a recipe this way. Anytime you're salting as well, try and get it from quite a bit of height while you're doing it. This just makes sure that your salt distribution is even, and you can coat everything. So, there we go. So I got the one side. Once again, I am going to be committing to touching raw meat again. So I need to rely on my wife, Michelle, here for a couple things.
For hand washing?
For hand washing, amongst other things. All right. All right. Chicken is seasoned. So now we're going to start the breading process right off the bat.
Okay. Do you want to just stop? I can show them how to do the potatoes.
Sure. Michelle's going to show you how to do some potatoes.
Okay, so I have drained the potatoes. I put in 2 knobs of butter. No signs to that either. You basically just put in how much butter you want. And then a good amount of a grainy Dijon mustard. So I am using this mustard today. You can use just Dijon if that's what you prefer. I prefer the grainy Dijon myself. I'm going to toss that together and then put it in the oven. Same temperature as the bacon, about 350. And I'm probably going to roast that for about 15 minutes or until they get golden brown.
Great. All right. Now I'm going to get into the breading of the chicken. Yeah, just go right in. So I'm going to do just
Wet hand, dry hand.
Yeah, very good point. One of your hands, in this case my left hand, I'm going to keep out of the mix. I'm going to use the right hand for all the breading, in the dry ingredients, and then I'll use my left hand so not to get it dirty in placing these chicken tenders into the pan.
You always want to have one wet hand and one dry hand, because if you mix them together, you end up with a mitt that is panko in it.
And it's gross.
And
All right, so from there, we're gonna put, from the flour mixture, we're going into the egg Louisiana hot sauce mixture to make sure that's all coated, and then directly into the panko after that. So this is where you switch your hands. So now using the left hand, you're just gonna coat everything here with the panko. Michelle, I might actually need a plate.
oh yeah, split them up.
Yeah.
Do you want first one?
Sure, that'd be great, actually.
If we have some.
So yeah, just making sure it's just to completely coat these chicken
Hey guys,
tenders.
can I interrupt really quickly?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. Hey, Sarah, on the call, are you also cooking the chicken as well too?
I am right there.
Awesome. Oh, it's so good, so good. Yeah.
Awesome.
Great.
We, I just want to give you a shout out, Sarah. Thanks so much for following along. You're doing great.
I love your buffalo chicken, so thank you.
Of course. If you have any
Alright,
questions
come on.
for you at the snag, just let us know, okay?
Yeah, feel free
Okay.
to pick up too, guys. We're having a lot of fun.
As Dan mentioned, he just asked me to get him a plate. Once you're done breading, you're gonna want a plate to put the chicken on, so you can keep on breading the rest of the chicken. You can use parchment paper to line the plate, but you don't have to.
Okay. So that's the first guy. That's what it looks like. Just lightly coated with the panko there. I'm pretty happy with how that looks thus far. So that was a third of the way. Now I'm going to go back in with your right hand to the next two tenders into the seasoned flour again. I'm just going to repeat the process one more time. What are you working on over there?
I'm putting my chopped vegetables into different containers so I can use the same cutting board for the romaine lettuce. And then that's all we need, right? Just red onion, tomato, lettuce. We have the cheese. That's it.
I think that's it. Perfect. Great. Would you mind checking on our bacon? How is that doing?
Okay. It is almost there.
Perfect.
I'd say another couple minutes.
All right.
Turn off the timer.
All right, back into the panko, round two. What I really love about these Japanese breadcrumbs over a traditional is you just get such a great crunch from when you're making chicken this way.
Yeah.
When you see like fish or onion rings, the batter on that is typically a wet batter, either like a tempura or like a beer batter that you'll see on some things. Anytime that you're having fried chicken, it's going to be a breading station that usually involves either buttermilk or egg and then some breadcrumbs. Okay. Michelle, I think I need a little bit more panko. Okay. That's 4 out of 6. Going into the last two here. I just broke my cardinal rule. I touched the chicken
You
with
did
my
not.
I did.
Daniel.
I screwed it up.
Oh my god.
It's gonna be okay.
I'm wearing gloves.
That's
Are
smart
you?
move. Smart
Yeah.
move.
She is so prepared. Good job.
I'm also covered. My apron is covered in flour, which
I mean, that's
is great.
shout out to the food dudes on our aprons. Thank you for supplying us with their apparel.
I mean, I haven't been doing a lot of laundry during this quarantine, so maybe it'll give me an excuse to
Yeah.
up my game a bit. Okay.
Is that enough lettuce?
I mean, the large. Yeah, that's perfect.
All right, veggies are done.
Perfect. Sarah, how many chicken tenders were you able to make out of your chicken breast?
I made 4.
Perfect.
Nice.
I think in your wrap, you're probably only going to need 2 or 3, but it's great. You can have some.
You can put them in the fridge and reheat them for later, or you can just eat them as chicken
Yeah,
breasts.
yeah.
Make nice.
Perfect. Okay. So, I believe I am finished the breading.
It looks like your oil's good. Where do you put the flour?
Put the spoon in there. So you can actually take the video. The camera. So this is a really good test to see if your oil is ready. Use this wooden spoon. Michelle's gonna dip it handle side down, and if there's some bubbles formed, it's ready to fry.
There are
Oh.
bubbles. Everyone see? That's a neat trick.
It is. Okay, I need my assistant to help me wash my hands again.
Okay, here we go. There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Which I thought of wearing gloves.
I know, Sarah's smarter than we are, apparently. Okay, are you done with your breading station?
Breading station is done.
Okay, we're gonna get rid of that. And if you're thinking about potentially maybe reusing the breading station because it's been contaminated with chicken, after you're done breading your chicken, you need to throw it out and start new.
Or make more fried chicken.
Or make more fried chicken.
Okay. So this is the exciting part.
I'll get the phone.
You can't have a buffalo chicken wrap without buffalo
fried
chicken.
Do you think it's too hard? Or do you think it's good?
I believe it's pretty good. I trust it. Actually, now I'm not second guessing myself. Anywhere between kind of 4 to 5. So maybe let's turn it down to 4 just to be sure. I can always turn the heat up in a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna go in.
I'm not gonna stand too close.
We're gonna go in with all 6. I have enough surface area that this shouldn't be a problem.
Oh, that's perfect. So does everyone see how that's nicely bubbling? Not too much, but just enough. That's exactly where you want it to be.
Yeah, you gotta also watch too if there's no smoke. Like I'm not even using my hood vent at the moment, and I'm not having any issues. So.
And keep in mind, the one that you put in first should be the one you take out first, just so all of them are cooked nice and evenly.
Okay. Yeah, so this is a nice little hack on a deep fry.
Oh, do you want to check the bacon?
I do want to check the bacon.
Okay. How's it looking?
Almost there.
Okay, so it's still a little bit too fatty. You want it nice and crispy when you put it in your wrap, so we're gonna leave it in for a little bit longer.
Okay, as you can see, this is cooking pretty great right off the bat. I think there's a really good color. Don't turn down the oil.
Yeah, so we have it at about 4. So it goes from minimum to maximum, we have it about 4. So medium low.
This is gonna take maybe like 3 or 4 minutes. It's not gonna take a long time. If you're cooking at like a raw, honestly, 4 minutes. Because down in the different pieces now, this is much quicker. I'm gonna get prepared for my next step, which is gonna be kind of to create like a drying rack, essentially. Well, we're gonna do this. We can take So I have this ancient pan with a grill rack that I think I got from my great grandmother. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna set that on this side. I'm just gonna line that with some paper towel.
Hey guys, we have a question in the chat box. Do you have some time to take a look?
Oh, absolutely. And check. Okay, let's see. These wooden spoons, serrated knives, and tomato hacks are so good. I have a question about freezing. Put it on the towel. So that is what it looks like when it's perfectly cooked. Good job.
Once again, fried chicken is like my favorite. These guys are pretty close. Again, I'd say like probably a minute. This one's done. Put that on the rack as well.
Want to check the bacon?
I do want to touch a bacon. Nope.
Not yet.
Bacon is delicious. All right. So I got another smaller piece here.
Are you going to be wrapping it over here?
Yeah, I can throw it in, I think. I don't think anybody's going to see it.
Okay, I'm just going to leave this here. your own this thing here.
Beautiful. All right. Super close. All right. So Michelle's prepared the lettuce, the tomato, the onion. We have the potatoes in the oven. I'm gonna let them rest. Yeah, I can get it. Okay. I think we're gonna dive into right after I get the chicken out of here. We're gonna make our chipotle mayo. Big step in there. Well, I must need an ingredient in this, right?
So I'm setting the chicken aside, but make sure your instruments and bags and things like that.
Oh, do you need my assistance for hand washing? Okay, our chicken is done. I'm gonna put that aside. Turn off the heat. When it comes to this oil, you might feel like, oh, I wasted a ton of oil. I don't know if most of you have these. What Michelle and I have is we have a big pot that we just keep all of our cooking oil in. So what I would do is I'd let this cool, and then I'd run this through a strainer, and I would reserve this for the next time that I'm doing a deep or shallow fry of this nature. You gotta be a little bit careful with certain types of fats, particularly animal fats, that you're keeping them cool in airtight containers. But in something like this, in canola oil, you can use this for at least 2 months. You should be pretty safe there.
2 months if you're using it.
We got another question in our chat box.
Look at my chicken fingers.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, what we got?
Okay, you just.
What are the odds of them not being cooked but still looking golden brown? I'm always paranoid about this. Good question, Jameson. Well, I mean, the easiest way to do this, and what's really wonderful in this situation, you're going to always let your meat rest. You can get a perfectly golden brown chicken finger that is still raw in the middle, and what you've typically done in that is your oil is too hot at the beginning. So as we talked about at the beginning, you got to make sure that your oil isn't too hot. Like Michelle had the great idea to turn down the oil when we began.
And one way that you can tell whether it's too hot is if it sputters up a whole bunch when you put the chicken in first, turn it way down at the beginning.
Yeah, so I'm fairly confident that these are fully cooked through. When you are frying too, what's really great about this, let's say you let it rest. Like I'm gonna let this rest for at least 5 minutes. You cut into it and let's say it's undercooked. You can do a second breading on it. You can fry it again. You can get it back up in no time. So this is different than like undercooking a turkey and poisoning the whole family. This is something you can come back from for sure. And we'll honestly make it even better. A lot of restaurants do like even triple dredges and flours of their chicken, but it is always super important to let your meat rest before you cut into it.
Okay, do you want to grab the phone and show them what I'm doing?
Okay.
This way. Yeah. That's right.
Okay. Michelle's gonna getting into our chipotle mayo now.
You can make your own mayo, but this is much easier for everyone. So I'm going to be using a hand blender today. If you have a regular blender, that's fine too.
Regular blender, magic bullet,
any of those work. If you don't have a blender, you can just finely chop the chipotles and mix them in. It won't be as nicely blended, but you'll still get the same flavor. So today I'm going to be using these chipotles in adobo. Adobo is just like a Mexican barbecue sauce, I guess.
I think it's Filipino.
Filipino?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm putting in a heaping teaspoon, about that much. And you see there's one full chipotle in there. I think that's good. You want a little more?
I think that's plenty.
Yeah? Okay. Depends on your spice level. If you want it super, super spicy, you absolutely can. If you want it a little less spicy, you put in less. What? Oh. And then I'm going to be adding, you can add fresh garlic, but today I'm going to be adding a little bit of garlic powder, and just to taste a nice hefty sprinkle. There we go. And then pepper. Yeah. I'm going to put in a little pepper. Perfect. Okay. So now that all my ingredients are in there, I'm gonna be using my hand blender.
Was this a wedding gift?
That was a Christmas gift, actually. This one. Thanks, Dad. Okay,
Beautiful.
so
Taste test?
taste test. Delicious. They're really good. Okay, so we are gonna set this up. This is gonna be our wrapping station. We have our lettuce, our tomato, our red onion, our chicken's over there, and we need our meat. Oh, good.
So if your tomato is too spicy, you can always just add
More mayo and mix it in.
Where are you going for this?
Okay. Do you want to check on the bacon?
Yes. I feel like we can pass me.
Perfect. So once you take out your bacon,
I could probably use the same.
actually, yeah, you're right. You want to always put it on a paper towel or something of that nature to absorb the oil. Okay, take it out.
All right.
And then we can check on our roasted potatoes.
That's 4 pieces of bacon. It just became
Not that much.
not much.
Do you want to cut it up or do you want to leave it whole?
Yeah, let it dry. We'll chop it up, I think, before we dig in there. Dump this in here. We're gonna get our aforementioned big pot of grease.
Want to check on the potatoes? For about 49 minutes.
They're looking good.
Yeah?
Yeah, I turned up maybe a little bit. Get some color in there.
Low broil.
Sure.
Okay, so Dan just suggested that we turn our potatoes up a little bit because we want a nice crispy outside. So I'm going to put them on the bottom rack on a low broil. That will get them nice and crispy on the outside, but still soft on the inside. The one thing you want to make sure with the broil is it does get very, very hot. So you want to watch it to make sure it doesn't burn.
So now this is my baby, my delicious pot of old grease.
Stop talking. That's weird. So if you wanted to save the oil, you can. You just need to drain out that. And you can have a collection in a pot on your counter, which is what we do. And if anytime we want to deep fry something, we just use this very old pot.
It's awesome.
All right. Okay. Okay. Rid of the hand blender. What else do you need?
Okay, we're on there. To answer Jameson's earlier question about our chicken not being cooked, let's take a look.
Pick the fattest one and cut into it.
This is my fattest chicken tender. Do you want to maybe come up close? So once again, you gotta always let it rest. So it's been at least 5 minutes since it cooked. I'm gonna cut right through the thickest part. And as you can see,
Nice and juicy, but still fully cooked throughout. If you see any pink, then you know it's not cooked, but that one is, so we're good.
great. Before I get into the assembly element here, I'm just gonna quickly wash my pan because I want to get a nice sear on the tortilla itself. That way it just kind of stays together, gives a little bit of texture. So I'm just gonna give this a wipe. I'm using the same pan that I just drained. I'm just gonna wipe it with some paper towel.
You never want to use soap on a cast iron pan because it's porous and it will absorb a lot of the flavors that you use on it. So you just want to wipe it down every time you use a cast iron. But if you're using a non-stick pan, you can wash that one off.
Okay, so
Ready?
now this brings us to our final
Assembly.
assembly, the moment we've all been waiting for. So we have our chipotle mayo, we have our lettuce, tomato, onions, we have our cheese, and we have our bacon as well.
So we're just using the store-bought Tex-Mex cheese for simplicity's sake, and so you guys all kind of knew what to buy, but you can really use any type of your favorite cheese would work.
I also forgot the part of this dish that makes it a buffalo chicken wrap, which is buffalo hot sauce. So we're gonna get into that for sure.
You want to put it on the chicken, not in the wrap?
It's got to be tossed in it. That's what makes it a buffalo chicken wrap. Okay. All right. So using our Frank's hot sauce. Just gonna.
How many do you want in here?
I think we could probably get away with 4.
Really?
Yes, I think 3. Yeah, you're right. 3. Yeah, you're always right.
So we're using. That's the rule. Well, we're using 3 chicken tenders, and we're gonna be tossing it in the Frank's hot sauce. Again, if you're not super keen on spice, don't use a lot, but if you like spice.
But also don't use too much anyway, because you don't want to get this to be soggy. You gotta like the crispy element. And I mean, you're getting heat from the chipotle mayo anyway, so it's
I wish we could smell a vision. That smells really good.
Okay. So the first thing we're gonna put down is our chipotle mayo. Oh, actually, great hack. Before we do this, anytime that you're wrapping a tortilla, if you're wrapping it from cold, it's so much harder.
Oh, good call.
So a little hack, just give it like 20 seconds in the microwave.
No, like 10 seconds. 10 to 20 seconds.
Because once it's warm, it's so much more malleable. And the best way to do that is when it's warm. If you've also noticed here, I've got the element going back. I've set that to 5 degrees, the same temperature in which we were frying the chicken at.
Medium heat.
All right, tortilla is down. It's nice and warm. We're going to go with the chipotle mayo first. You should try it. That's really good. I will. We're going to eat this.
All right, that's true.
So you're going just down the middle, something like that. It's as much or as little as you like. Next, I'm going to do the cheese. And the reason why I want to do this size, do the cheese next, is because it's going to be closer to the surface and when we're frying it.
When we're putting it down on the cast iron, we want the cheese to melt, but we don't want the lettuce to wilt. So we're putting the lettuce towards the inside of the wrap and the cheese closer to the outside.
Sean and I like cheese, but we don't necessarily do great with it. So I'm just going to put that much for us, but you're welcome to add as much as you like.
Yeah.
Next, I think we do some onions, yeah. Onions kind of like salt. You do them from higher up, and you get better like distribution. I'm going to do too much. All right. Next,
do you want to chop the bacon?
I can do that in a bit. Or you could start on it.
Well, I have my hands full.
Okay, next we're going to do some tomato. Kind of like a nice thin line down the middle. Next up, we'll do our chicken tenders, which we will just kind of lay out.
Try to center it as much as possible.
We're going to add some bacon to this, yeah.
Do you want scissors?
No. So the 4 pieces of bacon actually proved to be a little bit much. I'm just going to be using about 2 strips.
Just a rough chop on that to get it nicely distributed.
Sprinkle that all across there. And then lastly, I'm going to finish with the lettuce here, just over the top. Another option you can do too, anytime you're making like a wrap, is you can dry the lettuce, like topping the chipotle mayo. I don't really think it's nasty, just because of Sienna style hot sauce as well as.
You can add a bit of chipotle mayo on top. It's really up to whatever they want to do.
Exactly. All right, so now we're going to wrap. This can be an intimidating thing. I remember the first time I was working in a restaurant and I had to wrap something. It was very scary, especially when you're serving it to paying customers. The thing you want to do here is this, you are the boss of this wrap. You can be rough with them. You can be tough with them. You really need to just wrap it tight. So you're going to fold up the first corners, the first sides here. And then this is the most important part, is this first initial fold. It's like Michelle and I recently experienced making sushi for the first time. It's the same type of thing here.
So hold on, tell them what you're doing. He pulled in the outside parts of it.
And you're going big fold. And now at this point here, you're going to squeeze it. You're going to really pack it. You're going to, once again, you're the boss of this wrap. This is your dinner tonight.
And then you keep the outside folded in as well.
Yeah. So try and keep everything inside there. But once again, you've got to really use your fingers to keep this super tight. Yeah, it's perfect. And you're just going to keep rolling until completion there. And when you get to the bottom here, you have this little fold. Just kind of want to keep that flat. I did form a little small tear here.
That's okay.
It's not the end of the world.
Little onion poke through. That's totally fine.
Little onion poke through. So once again, you're going to try and get that, like, use your hands, try and press it out, make it uniform the entire way. And then we're going to sear it. So that's the final step here. So we're going to sear it with this fold side down. That way it will just keep it nice and tight. Because this does have lettuce in it, this is going to be a quick sear. We're just going to sear a couple of sides of it. You don't want to, like, you're not cooking a burrito that has rice or beans in it. You don't want the salad to wilt. This is just strictly for a little bit of texture. So we got the pan nice and hot.
Yep.
Put it in there. Just get a nice sear. Once again, you're going to have that seal side down.
So the part that you wrap to the bottom is definitely going to want to be on the bottom because that seals the wrap shut.
Yeah. You want to refrain from putting the lid on this because you don't want this to steam. This is strictly just to get a little bit of crunch texture.
Okay.
We're so close to being ready here.
When you check on our potatoes.
Oh, yeah. I forgot we had potatoes.
We got potatoes.
All right. So the broiler is on low. We got those potatoes on the bottom rack. Michelle's going to go check up on them. And how are we doing?
Oh, they look beautiful.
Show the camera.
They look pretty good. So lots of mustard on there. To finish it off, we just want to put a little bit of salt. I like quite a lot of salt in my potatoes, but that's just personal preference. Just sprinkle it all over the top there. And while you're leave them in the pan to keep them warm until you're ready to plate them. I'm just gonna leave them over here.
So this is the first flip on our wrap right now. Just getting a little bit of color. I flipped that maybe 15 seconds ago.
Yeah.
It didn't quite seal the way I wanted to, but it's going to be really delicious either way. So I'm going to take a quick look at this. I think it might be done. Once again, you don't want to overcook this. Yeah.
That looks done.
It looks done.
Okay, you want to bring it over here?
Yes.
Got it.
Okay. All right. So that is done.
Okay, you want to chop it in half?
I do. Want to plate our potatoes?
Sure.
Okay, so similar to when we were cutting, I guess when Michelle was cutting the tomato, she used a serrated edge. That's the same type of knife that you should use anytime you're cutting bread or a tortilla or anything. And basically, that just stops you from squashing it and keeping it looking restaurant quality. Options of cutting burritos or wraps, most people just cut it in half. I think for kind of a nicer photo finish, per se, I like to cut it on a diagonal. Just kind of shows more surface area and it's more like a higher restaurant quality feel. So we're gonna cut it right like a 45-degree angle, just right in half, once again with the serrated knife here. And so that's chopped in half. Michelle's just finishing off her potatoes here.
Yep, we're ready.
We got a little bit of
Just a little parsley for color.
greenery to finish it off.
Yeah.
I don't want to wait for dramatic for the final reveal here until we get our potatoes perfectly plated. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So potatoes are finished. Nice little garnish here.
Okay, let's just flip this camera around. So I just add a little parsley to finish. A little bit of brightness. You don't have to, but it gives a nice herbaceousness to it.
Yeah. Our final buffalo chicken wrap is complete.
Beautiful.
There you go.
Yay.
Tomato, onion. Thank you, Sarah. And a fun way to plate this too. Once again, you cut it on diagonal. You put the first one down flat, and you stand the other one up with the seal facing down. So that's your final presentation, I guess.
Beautiful.
I hope everybody had as much fun as we did filming this today. This is great.
Yeah.
I really look forward to doing this again. You guys are great.
Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, we really enjoyed this tonight. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we loved it. It was great.
Thank you. And I'm done with my, I don't know.
Are you? Can we see it?
Let me put the camera.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're done with your chicken. Awesome. I hope your wrap turns out great.
Yeah, I'm making the bread from scratch. So,
Oh, good for you.
it's right over here. I'm making the tortilla wraps.
Oh,
you made those?
good job.
Look at you. That's awesome. Very cool. Well, I hope it turns out amazing.
Thank you, and I'm really excited to try the buffalo chicken. Actually, the first time I had buffalo chicken was at Sheridan College a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Amazing.
Cool. Great to hear. All right, guys. I think that's it from us. Unless anyone has any questions, they can type it into the chat in the next minute or so. But we had a great time. And we're going to be posting on the SSU social. Oh, God, looks so good. Great, guys. We're going to be putting on the SSU social kind of a poll on what we should do next. So if you guys want to vote and let us know what you'd like to see next, we're
thinking about either doing a fish taco next week or potentially tackling the Den burger.
Yeah.
So tell me.
We'll take a look at what we think you guys might want to see, and then you guys can vote, and we'll be doing that next Wednesday. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, guys. We really enjoyed cooking for you all.
Stay safe.
Have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Cheers. Okay.
Sit put, guys.
Huh?
Maybe. Do you want to try?
A sec. Danny, you there?
1 sec.
That's great. It's super smooth.
Ooh. Yeah, Jameson says fish tacos. I think that's probably gonna be the winner. Turbo. Do you want a potato?
All right, so it's just us now. Boom, let me get rid of this thing. Awesome, guys. You guys are great. You there? Follow leg here. 1 sec. End the recording.